Welcome back to my channel. Today's date is August 5th, 2021, and this is your daily download for Topps Project 70. But with the reduction of detail here, it actually makes the details on the card stand out even more. And that Rod Carew by JK5 to me is the perfect example of life when they say sometimes you have to lose to win. And so we did lose some detail on that card, but ultimately that card for me was a massive winner on Wednesday. But my name is Chris, otherwise known on Twitter and Instagram as @CRT_Sportscards. And the website that you want to go to for everything related to Project 70 is my website, CRTSportscards.com. And so while it would be great to start tonight's show talking about the Monday print runs, because that Lauren Taylor Ronald Acuna Jr. could have a very, very high print run in the modern scale of Project 70. Not, of course, 22,000, but is that card going to top 7 or 8,000? But unfortunately, Topps did not publish the print runs from the Monday card, so here again, they are late on that game. I just don't know why they can't put the numbers up in real time. So because of that, we're going to skip over the Monday cards. We're going to get right to it on Thursday. On today's releases, though, there's an interesting question when you relate it back to the National. And now this is going to be kind of my third part when it comes to my thoughts coming out of the National. On the Monday show, I talked about card art, where it stands in the business right now. On yesterday's show, on Wednesday, I spoke about the potential of grading Project 70 cards and Project 2020, because that is the way the modern game is moving in the hobby. And today we're going to talk about collecting on a budget. Can you go to the National on a budget? The answer is undoubtedly yes. Of course you can go to the National on a budget. Even if your budget is just a couple of $100s, you can afford to go to the National because you don't always have to buy the expensive cards. You can find deals at the National. So never let anyone tell you that you only have to be a high roller to afford to go to the National. But let's now relate it to Project 70. Can you collect this set on a budget? That's a tricky question because there are so many cards and there's so many cards coming out every single day. It is very, very difficult, trust me, I know, to stay within budget every week or every day because there's so many great pieces of artwork coming out. But today is a perfect example of how do you stay within budget when you have 3 great modern day players released on a day along with one great Hall of Fame player. This is a day that can easily bust your budget. And so let's set the table. You have $40. Let's of course ignore tax and any shipping you want to pay and say we only have $40. We don't have $62.50. So we have to pick, in our opinion, the 2 best pieces of artwork today. And which 4 cards are we picking from? We are picking from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. from Tyson Beck. We have Fernando Tatis Jr. from Jacob Rochester. We also have Mike Piazza from Gregory Siff and Shohei Ohtani from Andrew Thiel. And a reminder here, we don't have $62.50. So while it's very easy to sort of talk ourselves into buying this 4-pack, losing $22.50 now is going to hurt us in the future. Maybe there's a card that comes out that we haven't seen that we really want, but we spent our money now in today's game, and so we're broke in a couple of days. So we have to remember we only have $40. So we're looking for the most original pieces of artwork, and we're looking for artists to take us down a new path. And now the great thing here is all 4 of these artists that released a card today, we all saw in Project 2020, but thankfully none of them have released this player before, so that helps us out a little bit. Nobody gets an automatic X because we've seen a card from them before. But let's start out with Andrew Thiel. This is now the 9th Shohei Ohtani in the set. This is also from 1958 Topps. And now the one thing that Andrew Thiel has done very, very well this year in his first 8 releases, outside of maybe the Bo Jackson, but I'll give him a pass on that card, is he has simplified the backgrounds. The one thing, in my opinion, that took away from his Project 2020 cards because of the size are the backgrounds. Even though his artwork is amazing, don't get me wrong about that, it just doesn't translate very well on a trading card. But this Shohei Ohtani, it kind of goes back to Project 2020. there's a lot of things going on in the background. Yes, they are meaningful for Shohei. They're meaningful for Shohei the pitcher and of course the batter, but there is a lot of things going on. And now next up in our quest of finding 2 cards to buy today, we have Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the 7th time we've seen him in the set. But here is the interesting thing with Tyson Beck's card. This uses 2006 tops. I was incorrect a few months back. We have never seen a card from 06 or 07 tops. I'm not exactly sure why the artists don't like these years, but Tyson Beck here takes us down the road finally of 06 tops. But Tyson Beck gets a little tricky here on this card. Now, a lot of us didn't know this at the time until we met Tyson Beck in Project 2020, but he was designing cards for Topps for many, many years in a brand called Topps Fire. Now, Topps Fire is a retail-only product, and this card is a direct play on the Power and Pride insert that Tyson Beck has designed in Topps Fire. And now third up today, we're going to have Fernando Tatis Jr. from Jacob Rochester. This is now Rochester's 9th card in his Young Gun set. It's also the 2nd bat flip card he's released in Project 70. Of course, the first one was that Tim Anderson. But when you take a look at this card, the first thing that stands out to you, of course, is going to be the font. Jacob Rochester is famous for using particular fonts on these cards, but that actually takes away from, in my opinion, the best part about this card. Look at that bat. That bat is not moving, but it looks like it's moving. This is a watercolor that looks 3D, that's not 3D, and it really feels like that bat's gonna hit you in the face if you take your eye off of it. And now closing out the releases for us on this Thursday, we have the only retired player. We have Gregory Siff releasing his Mike Piazza. This card could be maybe vertical, maybe horizontal, but the one thing that you cannot miss on this card, when you look left to right, when you look from Dodgers to the Mets, you right there are witnessing the evolution of Mike Piazza. Take a look at that bottom left-hand corner. What do you see? You see a catcher. What is that? That is Mike Piazza's 1992 Bowman card. And then at the end, of course, you have the full-size Mike Piazza. His career has ended. He's now in a Mets uniform. I'm sure the Marlins are in there somewhere. But here is the interesting part about this card, and you relate it back to Gregory Siff's entire collection so far in Project 70. And this is from reaching out to him this morning around just how amazing this card is. He says LA and New York are his muses, and they're in every single painting. And if you go back to his Project 70 work, they are in every single painting. The only one, though, that I can't find it is in the Bo Jackson. So somebody let me know in his Bo Jackson, where is LA and where is New York? So if I'm laying down 40 on the website today, which I am, which 2 cards am I picking? I'm going with the 3D bat flip, and I'm going with the evolution, because we've never seen those 2 things on a card in Project 70. This now will complete your daily download for Thursday, and I cannot wait to see what cards in the week. So I'll see you back tomorrow night for the Friday edition of the Project 70 daily download. But the one thing that you cannot miss on this card is the evolution of Mike Trout. From left to right, you have Mike Trout.